The Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
The Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
The Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do.
The Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
The Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
The Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
The Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
And I
Do you support the idea of a
do!
minimum fee?
I do! I do! I do! I do!
Do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do.
Ah!
Yeah, I do.
Do you support the idea of a minimum fee? Yes, the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do.
I do!
Do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
I do! I do! I do!
Yes, the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do.
I do!
Yeah, I do.
Yeah! How you going? My name's Chris Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos Facechook Live in what is a momentous week for we musicians. Love me or leave me, others true. Don't believe me, I love you. I do, I do, I do, I do, I do. Mr. Tony Burke was on Q&A last night on the ABC, and he said this.
Yes, the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
I do, I do, I do, I do, I do. Hello, there you go. Ah, what a week. There you go. Wow, there you are. Oh, we got a long weekend. I wonder how many musos are going to get paid their minimum. Oh, dirty door takes, whatever it is, shared kit. Oh, flogged my Doris, mate, flogged my Doris. Anyway, there you go. Once again, my name's Chris Quinlan. Welcome to Melbourne Musos Facechook Live. Hey, there you go. I would like to talk about numbers tonight. The measured rolls. How do you count them? Oh, when they're going so fast. How many notes did I just play then? How do you do it? And let me explain it to you. What happens in music? Music is this incredible language that is all based on numbers, you see. And what goes on is that what we try to do is put them into groupings, you see. And that's what goes on. And so what happens in the most basic of ways when you get stuck straight into it with measured rolls is that, first of all, you have two kinds of measures. You have a rough, which is any number of strokes played with single taps. And you have rolls, which is any number of strokes played with double taps. So in the most basic of ways, if you have a 5-stroke rough, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There you go. So you get. So on it goes, you see. When you want to do a 5-stroke roll, it's right, right, left, right, and then left, right, left. There you go. That's what goes on, you see. Stuck straight into it. Do you like it? I do, I do, I do, I do, I do. Yeah! If James Hetfield sang it. So what happens when I'm doing that, you can start to measure things. So what starts to go on, I play a little game with my students sometimes. I say, how many notes did I just play? And they go, oh, it's too fast, I can't get 1, 2, 3, 4. I said, times tables. Do you know your 4 times tables? And it's 4, 4, 4, 4. 4 times 4 is 16. 1 to finish, you've got a 17-stroke rough, you see. When you start working things through and when you have to try and work it up so that you can start transcribing tunes, you know, for your, you know, the band that's going to get paid on tomorrow night and stuff. Have you turned off already, audience? Hello! There you go. So what do you do? How do you count these up, you know? So what starts to go on is that you start using your numbers, okay? Now, the best thing for roughs and rolls is just to use your times tables, you see. So if I do this, that's a sextuplet, 1 and a 2 and a 3, if you want to think of it like that. So it's 6. So instead of having to go 1, 2, like that, you just count the group, like 1, 2, 3, 4. So you've got 3 6s, which is 18, 1 to finish, 19 strokes. You see? That's how it works. You see? Hopefully it's as simple as that, but what starts to go on is that you start to work on your various groupings in a way where you can actually see them as exactly that, groups, rather than having to, this note, then that note, then that note, then this note. This kind of business. So what starts to go on is when you're starting to do things like boom, brrrum. You see? It's 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. You see? So it's a 9-stroke roll. Down your drums, you see. So I'm going to start doing things like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then if I double, it's 2 6s are 12. And when you finish, there's your 13. You see? That's what goes on. So what starts to happen is that when you're doing your measuring of beats, what can start to happen is that you can see them as groups. You see, it's wonderful. So what happens when I'm doing things like this, you got to work out what the pattern is. It's a double paradiddle. Oh, what am I doing? Yeah. That's a triple, Chris. There it is. And there you go. You see, you work it all up. So when you want to do different things, what starts to happen is your numbers prevail by treating them like groups, and you're treating them like just the same way you know, use the part of your brain that you use for shopping. I got $100, so I've got to get a week's worth of this, that kind of thing. Well, I better get there. Do I go the $2 spaghetti or the 60-cent, or whatever it is? You know, like we're all doing that now. You know, especially with the petrol prices and everything else prices, the cabbage in your KFC burger, which I don't mind at all. There you go. See? Now I've got a bit to get through, so I'm going to keep on going. Now there's your measured roughs and rolls. Now when we're talking about numbers and all that, what starts to happen is we talk about numbers, let's talk about time signatures. And one of the things that I'd like to talk about with time signatures is that, okay, let's talk about common time, which is 4/4. Well, the top number is fairly straightforward. It tells you the number of beats per bar. The bottom number, however, people get a little bit tricked up, but it's fairly straightforward. It's the type of note that receives the beat. So if you see it like a loose fraction, 4/4, it loose, look, 4 quarter notes. You can have anything you like in the bar as long as it adds up to the same value as 4 quarter notes. We know quarter notes better as crotchets, you see. So it's 4 crotchets in the bar. So see it like 4. Once again, if I talk about it with my kids, I say, think of it like a litre of water or a litre of milk. You've got 4 1-litre, you know, 4 1-litre containers, you see, or whatever it might be. And that's what you've got. Now, what happens is the bottom number can change, because if you're dealing with quavers, it could be 4/8, or you could have 12/8, you know, like I was doing then.
Ask the minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Ask the minister, do you support the
1, 2,
idea of
3,
a
4,
minimum
5,
fee?
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 1.
Yeah, I do.
Ask the minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do.
So 1, 2, 3,
Yeah, I
4,
do.
5, 6, 7. 7, 8, 9,
He asked the minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
I
Yeah, I
do.
do.
I
Yeah, I
do.
do.
And there you go, it's 12-8. I do. There you go. I'm still riffing on that. But that's 12-8. Or you could call it 4-4 in triplets if you want, but it's 12-8 blues beat is what it is. I do. But anyway, it doesn't matter. There you go. Now, what starts to happen with time signatures, I spend a lot of time talking about time signatures because it's drums. It's the central bit to music as well. And what goes on is one thing that doesn't get explained quite as much when we're going down the track of, I'll do my time signature lesson or whatever it is. What starts to go on is that time signatures sometimes lend themselves to certain kinds of genres and things, different kinds of things. Now, when we talk about 4/4, that's why it's called common time. It's the most common time. So you get 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Carrying on from the bottom episode. So on, you see, that's what goes on. It's 4/4. You could do it like in jazz. The 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, Oh, 24 notes there. See? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. There you go, you see. So what starts to go on is you're just playing with numbers all the time. Now, when you're doing that with the 4/4, you can do lots of different things. Now, what goes on? If you're going to be in a rock band, this is what I'm going to talk about with time signatures and grooves and feels. If you're just going to be in a good old rock and roll band, you need 3 things. You need a good rock beat. And it's all derivatives like soul beat. And you need a blues beat. Oh, I'll do it again. Woke up this morning. What do you think I saw? Saw Tony Burke on TV. He does. There you go. And you need a good shuffle. Can be found. Don't be cruel to a heart that's true. I want my minimum fee. Thank you very much. There you go. You need a good shuffle if you're going to be in a rock band. That's what goes on. And if you're going to be in a jazz band, the son of Robin sings through years of endless spring. Is your nipples by a brook, even tide? What I did this the other week. What are you doing with the rest of my wife? Oh, pretty crappy. Anyway, what happens is that there's that. When you're in a jazz band, you need your Latin beats, but you need a good swing. 4/4. But you also need 3/4. There. Sort of went into a bit of a Jack Dees in that thing there. Anyway, So few of my minimum fees. Then I barely sad. Then I don't feel so bad. What a night! Ah, dear me. Hope you're still there. Okay. So what goes on with that is that, like if you're in jazz, it's 3/4 and 4/4. When you're dealing with a march, okay. 2/4 or 6/8. You see, it seems to prevail in marching. You have duple time. 2/4 is simple duple time, and 6/8 is compound duple time, because simple time is anything that's divisible by 2, and compound is anything that's divisible by 3. So if you've got compound duple time, it's 2/3, 6/8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the reason it's duple is because we've got 2 feet. You see, left, 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 right, left. You see, that's what goes on with that. And there you have that, you see. So you move back to that thing. There it is. And what then starts to happen is you can start to get into other things. When you're starting to get into sort of like the European dances, you start to go into your odd times. So you might have 5/8, 7/8, 9/8, like a Zebeki chord, Greek rhythm. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 5. Subdivided 4 and 5, but you've got 9, you see. Or you could have a slip jig. Think manic depression, so you get that Hendrix's, that's a 9/8 thing, so you get that's a normal Irish jig, but you could have there you go, that kind of thing there. And beautiful, all different kinds of things. So with this little segment of the shoe, what happens is I'm talking about time signatures, but in a slightly different way, talking about from a genre point of view. So what starts to happen if you're going to join a rock band, right? Have a good rock beat with all its derivatives, you know, cut time, half time, all that in 4/4, and get yourself a good blues beat and get yourself a good shuffle beat, and you'll be doing okay, you know, sort of thing. And when you're in jazz, the predominant time signatures in jazz are 4/4 and 3/4, you know, sort of Waltz for Debbie, and, you know, my favourite things, the Coltrane version, if you like. And so it goes like that. And if you're going to do a kind of a wedding thing, yeah, sometimes you might have to do the chicken dance, but if you're doing it for wonderful people from Europe, you might be having to learn up 5/8, 7/8, 9/8, like I had to with the Lignos brothers a long time ago. Chris, do you know a Zebeki? What? Sort of thing's just this. And I went, oh, I see, it's 4 and 5. I got it now, and I just stuck with that, and I was okay. The one skip in the band. There you go. Anyway, so that's what goes on. Now what goes on is when you're dealing with numbers, you can deal with bars, you see. And what happens with the bars? If I'm going to do a 12-bar blues, well, it's self-explanatory. If I'm going to do a 12-8, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. That's fine. But what starts to happen is if you're going to do a 12-bar blues, there's 12 bars in it. Okay, so what happens is it's commonly known as a 4-2-1 progression because let's say if you're doing one in A, so you go A, A, up to D, D, and back to A, E, D, that A, if you're going to start again, there you go, it's 12 bars. 4 bars of A, 2 bars each of D. I'm going to start again. I'll do it with the numbers if you want to change key. You've got 4 bars of the first, you've got 2 bars each of the 4, then back to the first. You've got 1 bar each of the 5, the 4, the 1. You'd finish there, or if you're going to go and do it again, you go back to the 5 again. Okay, so that's what happens. It's essentially a perfect cadence if you want to be classical about it. And so there you have it, you see. That's a 12 bar. And so much Elvis or everything else, you know, that kind of biz, everything goes with that. 12 bar blues is one of the most common progressions in music. However, I'm going to move on a little bit. If you're going to go, buddy, you're a boy, man, something you got mud on your feet, big disgrace. That's a 8 bar verse, and that's we will rock you. And that's 8 bars. Well, if I finished it, it'd be 8 bars. You got 8 and 8 in binary form. A section is the verse, B is the chorus. A, B, A, B. There you go. So it's 16 bars. 8 and 8, and keep going backwards and forwards until you get to Brian May's guitar solo. There you have it. Now what goes on with that is that you've got all your different kinds of song structures, you see. That's binary form, 2. You can have ternary form, which is often used in Celtic jigs and things like that, A, B, A. Okay, so you've got verse, chorus, or, verse, chorus, verse, verse, chorus, verse. A lot of songs are like that. Standard song is your 32-bar song in jazz, many other things. What have we got? Hey, how you doing tonight? How you going, darling? Satin doll. Do it again. Perhaps without the rim shot. Satin gold. B section, 4 on the floor. Back to the A. Minimum fee. I'm putting myself off. So there you have it, you see, Satin Doll, one of the classics by Duke Ellington. There you go, wonderful stuff. And it's A, standard song. It's the classic one. It's the, one of the first songs I learned when I was getting taught that a long, long time ago. And there you have it, in the real book, all that stuff. There you go. When you're dealing with things like that, though, I can also talk about things like a cadential sequence, a cadence. Now, when you're in a brass band, and the aforementioned 2/4 or 6/8, you know, like... Oh, tom-tom, no tom-tom. You got... Everyone hangs it on big-ass Doris around here. Oh, what does he need a big kit like that for? But one of my favourite drum kits is the snare drum with the beloved City of Essendon Brass Band. That's what you got, mate. From RMIT down to the War Memorial. Let's have a bit of a crack about what you learned in those kinds of days. Black cat fiddle in the white cat's eye. Black cat fiddle, black cat fiddle, black cat fiddle in the white cat's eye. And what that is a 16-bar sequence, you see. In marching bands, they call it a cadence, you see. And the general beat is around about 120 beats per minute, but it does depend. And there you have it. And, so there's your metronomic, 120 is quite interesting. I've done a whole show on 120 beats per minute. It's a default on GarageBand or most of the things. It's half a second, 60 beats per minute, 120, it's half a second. And it just seems to work. There you have it. Now, when we're starting to talk about these kinds of things, you start to put them in to relevance with both the metronome, the speed, and as well as that, you put in your rudiments. Now, when we're talking about measured rolls, if I'm going back all the way to the beginning, like roughs and rolls, one of the things about that, 3 camps, all that sort of business, is that they work at 120. They're designed to be played at 120. Now, this is one of the things about numbers, because you might see something on the page and it might be beautiful. There you go. Open and closed rolls. They're open rolls. Whatever it might be. But if you're in rehearsal and you're having to play it slower for the other instruments in the band, like the trombones or something like that, and you do it slower, so it'll be, okay, fellas, we're not going to do it. You don't just start at 120 when it's the first rehearsal for a national championship or anything like that. What you do is you start it a bit slow and work up steam, So you might start with... and then expect the conductor to go, drummer! This is what I got. Drummer! Close those rolls! Like that. And you go, ooh! So what works at 120 might not work when you're playing at 80, you see. So all of a sudden, your nice little... see? Nice little 9-stroke roll... all of a sudden might have to turn into a 13-stroke roll because you're playing it slower. You see? That's the kind of thing there. So it can move. I mean, it depends if it's a slower tempo. So that's what happens. The other thing you can do is close them as impresses. Now, as many people know, I am infatuated with Dame Evelyn Glennie. Go to YouTube and she's there doing the 30-minute press roll, mate. Ooh! Ooh! A lot of people think that Anzac Day is, there's a lot of work on Anzac Day. And yes, it's solemn, but there's something about the camaraderie and the spirit of the day. However, I always found Remembrance Day, 11th November, very much my poor hands, because dear Ronnie Ruth would say, well, we're going to play hymns today because Remembrance Day is a lot more solemn. And what would happen is, well, Chris, just press roll. As if it's easy. So I'm there going, whatever the piece of music is, all with respect. I'm not going to make fun of that. But you've got to stay there, and by the end of the day, my hands are going. So you've got to have a good press roll for that. And then you work the metronome a bit. I've got this set at 250. There's a reason for that. Ooh. I do. Hey, what kind of a show is it tonight? There you go. So what we have is a little bit of a rundown of numbers tonight. I better wrap the show up. I always say it every week and I go over every week. Oh well. But what it is tonight is all about numbers and the way that you can work numbers. Now, numbers as applied to strokes, how to count them, all this stuff, and then how to count bars, and then where the bars sit, time signatures, and a little bit different rather than just saying this is a lesson on time signatures. Just pushing the packet a little bit to sort of say that certain genres of music have a tendency to go to these different kinds of time signatures. If you're in a blues band, expect to play a lot of 12/8, you know, that kind of thing. And some people call it a 6/8 blues beat, but that's fine, it's just half a bar, you see. So the thing is, when you're dealing with 12/8, there's 4 pulses, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's conducive to 4/4, which is your most common. There it is. When you're dealing with 6/8, it's conducive to 2/4 because they're the two duple time signatures, you see. When you're dealing with European dancing, let's say, depending on what country you're in, but you might be dealing with 5/8, 7/8, 9/8. I don't always call the 9/8 an odd time just because it's an odd number is 9. I tend to think of odd times as numbers that are non-divisible, which are a combination of simple and compound numbers. So if I'm going to deal with 5, it's 2 and 3, or 3 and 2. With 7, it's 2 and 2 and 3, you see, or 3 and 2 and 2, depending on whether it's a kashlamiko or whatever, kalamash, and that kind of is. But 9/8's divisible, you see, because it's almost like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a, you could play triplets in 3/4 and rewrite it as 9/8. It'd come out sounding a bit the same. Slip jig. However, if you're going to do something that's like 5 and 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Well, you know, that's a little rhythm out of river dance, and 5 and 4 make 9. So, yeah, okay. You know, it's like that. I'm not going to get into a big argy-bargy about it. But, yeah, that's how I think about 9/8. And when you're dealing with marching, 2 feet make duple time. So you're dealing with 2, 4, and 6/8 most of the time, you see. With the Will Coxon book. Who knows the Will Coxon book? 150 rudiments and all that. What happens there is you get 10 solos in 2/4, 10 in 6/8, 10 in 2/4. It keeps going. 10, 10, 10, 2/4, 6/8, 2/4, 6/8. All the way through until you get towards the end. And that's what goes on there. So there it is. That's one of the textbook things about rudimental playing. But I'm out of here, and I've sort of been alluding to it, more than alluding. I've been a complete dill about it. Regular watchers of the show and regular, you know, Facebook friends and colleagues and everything know that I went postal about 12 months ago. Essentially when I saw venues get grants, musicians get food parcels at the worst of the pandemic. And it did my head in. 12 months or so on, we have a Minister of the Arts again. We didn't have one. They took the name off the door in the previous administration. But now we have a champion rather than a bankruptcy administrator. That's how the last bloke was doing it. He's acting like a bankruptcy administrator. The amount of trouble he put Community Channel 31 through, starting with Turnbull. I'm postal. I'll say it, you know, that kind of thing. But the amount of trouble. But now it's turned around, and last night was the complete vindication of the work that Musicians Australia has been able to do since their inception just before COVID at the last months of 2019. And what that union has been able to do, And I'm proud to be a part of it. This is what happened.
Ask the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
That's it. It's done. Beautiful! I'm going to love and leave you. I'd also like to send a beautiful cheerio to my friend Ali Lee. And you know why. So there you go. So I hope everything works out. I'm off! Hey!
Ask the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
Do I
Ask the
do?
Minister,
I
do you
do.
support the idea of a minimum fee?
I'll do it again.
Yeah, I do.
Ask the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Ask
There
the
you
Minister, do
go.
support
It's
the idea of a
done.
minimum fee?
Thank you very
Yeah, I
much.
do.
Thanks for putting
Yeah, I
up
do.
with me.
Ask the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Ask the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Ask the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Ask the Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do.
Ask the Minister, do you support the idea of a
The Minister,
minimum
do you
fee?
support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.
Ask the
Yeah, I
Minister,
do.
The Minister, do you support the idea of a minimum fee?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I do.